So Azir kind of has fallen slightly out of his wheelhouse, at least in the last couple games that he's played, but always an option, always something you have to be careful and afraid of. Silas ban coming out from Dignitas Academy. I actually had that as a Yasui pick here, but I guess they're thinking, okay, we got Alistar ultimate. Maybe they're trying to lock in something else that will have a really big impactful ultimate, so they're preemptively taking that away from triple, but focus is here from FlyQuest. Makes sense. Xayah for that peel, Camille for that kind of annoying split push style, which Lorlo does play that Camille pick.
So if Azir is up, it would be a nice takeaway. They could also opt for something like a Shen, something that Kumo is very comfortable on, would pair really well with the Hecarim, the Rel to help them go in, get that dive. They did want a blind top lane. But I would not be surprised if they opt for a blind mage, which for triple, you mentioned that he has been straying away from the Azir a little bit more. Going to be taking the Victor, a little bit of a safer matchup into the Tristana if they want to put it mid in the early game, and scales really nicely. So once again, FlyQuest, we expected them to secure some scaling on their side, and it's going to be in triple in the mid lane, taking this late game mage.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Victor to play to success over the last weekend. If you're watching LAC, watching LCS, this is a very popular pick right now. It just does an insane amount of damage in teamfights, especially when you have the amount of lockdown that a Hecarim and a Rel can bring. But okay, we do see it locked in. Yasui, this is an OG pick for Yasui. He hasn't played, I don't know if he's played it once this year. Maybe he did earlier on in the year, but I remember Yasui being one of the first to really break out the Yone pick. And man, this is going to be exciting to watch. Yasui loves these assassins, and into the Victor, there's a lot of playmaking potential.
Yeah, and I actually really like the response here from FlyQuest with the Cho'Gath. It's got a great lane into the Scion, going to have a lot of zone control. And it's really tough for Yone to deal with the Feast and the Silence now when he has to dive in. So I want to see if Dignitas can set up these engages between Acadian and Yasui by putting members to sleep, then having that followed up by the Yone ultimate. And Kangas, this is kind of a fun pick for Yasui, because when he first came onto the scene back in 2015 on C9 Tempest, he was known for his Yasuo play on the server, this being his brother, a little bit of a similar play style somewhat, right, with like how you want to space out in lane. I want to see how he can utilize this pick, because it's something where we talked about Dignitas trying to break the early game of FlyQuest. We saw EG have a lot of success doing that. Seems like Dig wants to replicate that with taking a very strong mid-jungle duo in this early game.
Yeah, when you're looking at a Cho'Gath Victor, you probably don't want to go too far into the late game. I mean, I guess you do have Scion Tristana, so you have some options for yourself, but you're looking to get this Yone ahead. You're looking to play through the Yone in the early to mid game and really snowball that to your advantage. Probably look at some early Rift Herald focus, even get some plates onto this guy, because if you can get him out of his lane, break that mid turret early, and get him roaming around, this really opens up a lot of options for Dignitas Academy's composition right now, because they do have a lot of roam potential here. So I like this. This is exciting. I mean, if you're in the losers bracket and you're coming into game number one, why not do it? Give us some spice for game one. And yeah, I couldn't ask for much more than this coming in from Dignitas.
Yeah, and we're going to have to keep our eyes out on Dignitas early, right? We're kind of painting this picture how they might want to take some of that more. They love the seed early game, and we see that right here, right? They're taking laners that scale up in the solo lane. Their bot lane should be able to somewhat answer, but this is going to all be about Acadian and Yasui. What can they do early to put NXI behind, put FlyQuest behind, and try and snowball a win before those picks get out of control, as we are onto the Rift for our first game of our second series today, Kangas.
We'll see what their strategy is here. Battle lines have been drawn from both teams. No early invades. We haven't seen any invades so far today, and it looks like that won't change in this game regardless. So just feeling each other out at the early stages. Yasui, obviously eyes will be on him, right? We got to keep watching this Yone in this laning phase, because Victor, there's not a lot of tools that he has to actually deal with the kit that Yone brings. Yone, I mean, there's a chance Yasui can even get like solo kills, although he did opt for the teleport instead of the ignite, something that would help him out in that regard. But regardless, he can just really harass Victor from that range, and until Victor has that gravity field, can't really stop it, and even then, it's hard to pull that one off. So, I'm sweating if I'm triple right now, thinking NXI, you got my back, right? You're gonna perma-gank mid. You got me, buddy.
Yeah, and that's something that we're gonna have to see, because this mid lane for triple, usually Victor are usually a very stable pick in the mid lane, but against a Yasuo and a Lilia, can easily get very unstable in this state. So, gonna have to see if Dignitas can really pressure the Victor, as in this early game, I always like to look out for early Lilia paths, Kangas, because she can do a lot of creative things, like go from Raptors to Raptors or Raptors to Wolves. Lilia not going to opt for that FlyQuest intelligently. You can see they snuck that ward down on Lilia's Raptor camp, so they are trying to get a little bit of early tracking with her. I don't think FlyQuest level 1 was strong enough to really ensure a dominant invade, so it's going to be a handshake of clears, which once again, we talked about how time is the friend of FlyQuest in this game. They want to scale up to those 2-3 item points for this Hecarim, this
Dreams hit that level 2 first. Couldn't really capitalize on it, but they are trying to shove this in right now. And actually, Yasui is taking some poke here. This is what the Victor can do. You struggle against the all-in of the Yone, but if you can poke him out enough in the early stages, you can kind of get to a point where he's always in too big of danger to actually try and all-in you. Because, yeah, he's just too low health. But, oh, what a stun there from Dreams, preventing the engage from JJ. But Acadian's here, too. They're just going right in. That's a flash pulverize onto Tomo. He's ignited. He will go down here. Who gets a kill? It's Spawn. 80 carry picks it up. Dreams flashes away, but I think he's falling, too. Acadian picks up that one, too, in succession for Dignitas Academy. What a way to start the game.
And you can see Acadian, he dodged out the ward on the Raptor camp, got his red buff, and just went straight to bottom lane. So he actually skipped over 2 camps to hit that timing, but I'd say that pays off tenfold for Dignitas, Kangas, as that double kill early in the bot lane really going to set FlyQuest behind and give Dignitas a lot of priority on the map.
And we saw that play set up there from FlyQuest. They pushed in. They were trying to shove that wave and try and get some CS denied from Spawn, because if you're Tristana farming under turret, it can be kind of hard. You can easily hurt the wave on yourself. But yeah, well read by Acadian, realizing, nope, I can just go for that gank. Yasui also spotted that ward dropped on the Raptors, so obviously the team's communicating and saying, no, just path around it, get to that bot side as quick as you can. He's going to be a little behind in the farm clear, but definitely worth it.
I just love the proactivity, too, from JJ. The Q flash, knowing that Tomo would go down. Tomo didn't even burn the flash. Dreams does, but still goes down for the sins of the bot lane. FlyQuest just not respecting the potential for that timer. And great early play from Acadian to dodge out on the ward that they saw was placed and get the punish off in the bot lane, as Yasui going to get a nice freeze here, most likely forced to teleport out of triple. So another positive play for Dignitas in this early game, and this should give them tempo on the first dragon if they want it. So Yasui can now shove out this wave, TP back to ensure they have priority. The bot lane should have priority with those early kills too, Kangas, and Dignitas already off to the races in this game.
We were talking, that's what the composition wants to do. I didn't necessarily expect it to be a Spawn and JJ receiving the first gank. I thought it would be Yasui, but regardless, it's Dignitas making the first play, right? It's them realizing we have a timer to play around, and we want to actually capitalize on that when we are at the strongest. Dragon just spawned on the map, so can they do it again? They're still shoved in on the bot side. Tomo and Dreams, same game plan, just shove these waves, try and keep control here for themselves, as Lorlo does go for his first back. And okay, we see TP from Yasui going mid, so yeah, if I'm Dignitas, I'm looking at this dragon thinking this is where I want action to happen next.
Yeah, you can see Acadian doesn't have any other camps to do, so he is peeling straight towards that dragon. With this bot lane shoving back out, that's where they're going to be looking to possibly make their mark, but instead going to actually step on a ward in the bot lane, as Dignitas might be looking to repeat, but FlyQuest a little bit wiser to it this time around. It is warded, and I would expect Dignitas to now fully shove out this wave and try and get the reset to take this dragon early. They have the early game priority with this Lilia and this Yone, and so the fact that they are using it to try and get these early objectives and try and scale into the game, threaten Mountain so early, good play from the Academy squad here, as they are doing what their comp should be doing in the early game.
Did you just make a 1-in-3 prediction that we're getting Mountain Soul? That's a bold call right there, Cubby.
Did I?
I heard Mountain Soul come out of your mouth, and I mean, you're right. There's a chance, because we see Infernal as the first one, but wow, I mean, you'll put money on that bet? I'm not sure.
That's one of the three. I don't like those odds, and I already bet my Twitter profile picture today, which that's pretty high stakes for me. So I think we're
not feeling that
on
confident.
All
right, I respect.
Yeah, not feeling that confident on that one. As
we'll
Dignitas,
see what the Elder Soul or the Dragon Soul is going to be, but Dignitas are prepping it, right? They finally get the push on their bot side. Tomo and Dreams are actually going for a reset, so it feels like FlyQuest are accepting. Yeah, we're not fighting for this objective. If they want to take it, they're free to do so. We're still scaling. We're still trying to get items before we try and make anything happen.
Yeah, and this is the play that we're expecting out of FlyQuest. What we've seen them, how they've gotten here. I think that One of the recent series that I actually saw and casted was the finals for Northern Arena Kangas, where FlyQuest, they took second. They dropped the best of 5 3-1 to Team Liquid, who were out of this tournament. But FlyQuest did this consistently in the best of 5, where they would, if they're okay giving away some of the early objectives, they take the scaling, and then they'd really try and hit their stride. And we see them drop down in gold, but it's always controlled, right?
Yasui goes for the all-in. That's a flash, but look at that. Dreams is there. The turret shot. It follows back. That was a Chad play, Yasui. I don't know if you just miscalculated. You were close. You almost took that triple. But with Dreams right there, he didn't quite have enough. Well played by Dreams to get that stun. Yasui bites a little more than he can chew.
Yeah, goes back to the Spirit after the Fate sealed, and turns out that his Fate's sealed as Dreams, as you mentioned, Kangas, in the right spot at the right time. We love to see those well-timed support roams, as Yasui just not respecting that timer. Gonna drop early as he sees Dreams.
Yeah.
Oh. The flash of the stun, he just wasn't able to get another auto attack off. Or Q to make sure that he was able to pop triple. And that ends up being a kill going over to FlyQuest as now the gold lead. It settles, right? And even though they're down in the early Dragon Kangas, FlyQuest on even footing, this is exactly where they want to be at this point of the game. That's
one of those moments where you look at the play and you think, that was kind of an ego play, right? Like, you see yourself in a 1v2. You see he's feeling himself. He's like, I got my Yone pocket pick. I could take this. If you get that kill, sure, yeah, you just got a solo kill. You use your flash for it, but the chances of getting that, it's one of those, like, high risk, high reward types of plays.
So they did get the flash at triple.
Maybe they can find more, but Acadian doesn't actually get the sleep right there. Doesn't commit for that. Yasui doesn't have his ultimate yet, but once that ultimate's off cooldown, yeah, you're right. They absolutely could look for the re-engage there onto Triple, who now in a much more vulnerable state. But here, engage onto the bot side. JJ could be the focus right now. He's got the Aftershock, but he's not level 6 yet. Does not have that ultimate available, but still healing up. Spawn doing a lot of damage to Tomo. Uses the ultimate, but now here comes NXI. Can't actually get onto Spawn. Rocket Jump was available, but he does have to flash and heal as well, so all summoners gone from Dignitas Academy's bot lane.
NXI, right spot at the right time, supporting the bot lane, who was getting all ins, as it was a decent timer for Spawn and JJ to fight. They also had Acadian in the area, but no blood, just to burn a summoner spells. Kangas is this early game. Although it's only 2-1, I like the fact that Dignitas are still looking for these plays. Acadian's still keeping up in jungle tempo and utilizing this the way early to make sure that they still have first say on the map with these plays. That's exactly how you want to play this matchup. And not everything's been going the way of Dignitas, but they at least have the right idea of like what their comp should be doing, right? And that's exactly what we want to see out of these Academy boys.
Playing aggressive, playing for the early game right now. Wondering, though, have they done enough in the early stages? I think that death from Yasui really put them behind. They need to make use of this window that Triple doesn't have flash in order to actually kind of turn that game back into their favor right now. But they also go for an interesting play here. Lane swapping Spawn and JJ up to the top half of the map, going for this Rift Herald. It's going to be spotted, so FlyQuest will know that this is happening, but they still have Tomo bot side. They cannot answer in the same regard, so I don't know if they go for a contest right now.
FlyQuest once again seeding this, although they do have their support. They might be looking for a late engage. They don't have ultimate on the Hecarim, and I think that's ultimately going to be what dissuades them from going for anything, as Acadian is going to secure Shelly. Tomo on the bright side is able to pick up a solo play, a little bit of solo XP. Never bad on your 80 carry. But Dignitas, they make the first play, the first rotation, and they do get access to Shelly. We're going to have to see how they use it, Kangas.
I think if Kumo had gotten there a little faster, maybe they go for it, just because you have that Cho'Gath to try and steal away the objective with ultimate. But end of the day, yeah, just clean pickup for our Dignitas Academy, making use of their composition, still pushing in the early stages, trying to put the pressure onto FlyQuest Academy. We'll have to wait and see where they use this Rift Herald now. Again, I'm looking at Yasui as a prime target. If you get more gold onto this Yone, yeah, he had that one solo death. It was a little awkward, but you got to reset after that and still try and get gold onto this big assassin who can just blow up Triple or Tomo if he can get on them in a team fight.
I think that's a good diagnosis, Kangas, and exactly where we're going to see Shelly drop. Not only for that, but also the fact that, Victor in the mid lane, very good at keeping that tower secured, right? So utilizing the Rift to try and break that, trying to open up some more space for Dignitas to work with, because fighting front to back against a Victor Cho'Gath for this team composition for Dignitas as the game goes on, going to be very tricky, right? Because Cho'Gath, he's a tank that counters other tanks with the true damage from his feast. He can buy so much space, and the Alistar in the Cho'Gath, your ultimate doesn't keep you safe, right? It's actually really tricky for JJ to play aggressively in the Cho'Gath when he does have that silence and that feast ready. So we're going to have to see if Dignitas can continue to snowball early.
Yeah, here we go. Yasui could be in some trouble right here. Uses the ult to get away. Actually knocks up NXI under turret, so good outplay from Yasui. Rift Herald will drop bot side. Yasui might just turn this. He's doing a lot of damage to NXI. Wow, those crits actually hurt for quite a lot right now. Plates onto spawn. Seems like the idea is, no, we don't need Yasui fed with these plates. We instead want to put them onto Tristana. And now focusing on the Dragon. So Dignitas Academy keeping their eyes on objectives. Teleport coming in here from Triple. Also used by Lorlo actually joining in. Kumo hasn't joined, so I guess at the end of the day, mid laner gets back to mid lane for FlyQuest Academy, but top laner for Dignitas Academy just shows up to secure the Dragon. We'll have to take the long walk back to top lane.
And FlyQuest, once again, we can see how they're okay seeding these early objectives, Kangas. They get the TP out of Lorlo. They say, you know what? That's fine. We got an extra summoner spell. We're just going to have Kumo shove in top, crash a wave, get a plate for himself, and then, get a clean reset so we can get back out onto the map first. As FlyQuest, they are down early, but with their team composition, these plays are being calculated by the Academy team on the red side, Kangas. And they are now in a position where, towards this third Dragon, where you start to have to contest just to prevent this soul point, FlyQuest are going to feel like they're in a much better position to contest. And to be fair, I mean, we saw in the first series when Barrage tried to contest too early, things did go pretty sour for them. So I like the discipline, the restraint that we're seeing out of FlyQuest here. This is something that we expected out of the way they played the game, and it's good to see it come to fruition early.
Does not seem like they're playing, like on a too early of a timer, right? They're playing very patient. They're not playing rushed. Playing controlled. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. They're playing very controlled right now at this stage of the game, saying, okay, we want items on Triple to say the least. Once he gets that mythic, maybe they can go for something else, but they're starting to get those mythic items elsewhere. Tomo has picked up his first, Kumo as well. So they're maybe looking for plays in these isolated pockets here with Kumo rotating down. Just drops control ward for his big old buddy Triple right there. Ooh, doesn't clear that control ward in the pixel brush though. Or rather the little wraparound brush right there. But either way, getting some help for his mid lane. You love to see that from top laners. They don't find it for themselves. But here's the engage onto the bot side. Spawn uses heal very early in that fight just to stay alive, just to stay safe. But he's taking a lot of damage. Teleport coming in here. This will be from Yasui. Now NXI dives the turret, does take out the 80 carry. Yasui's all alone on that side of the fight. Acadian's taking a lot of damage. Triple's joined in. He roamed all the way from mid lane, just walked down. And now we see Yasui and JJ stuck under their turret. Triple's actually trying to poke them down right now from range, but there's no wave, so I don't think FlyQuest Academy can actually dive this right now. They will need to wait for this next wave to crash in. Dignitas Academy, do they want to contest? Looks like they will, because FlyQuest are backing off.
And this is what we talked about with FlyQuest, right? They see an angle, they've hit a timer where they're now feel a little bit more comfortable fighting with their champions. They're able to take out spawn, deny 2 waves under tower, and the gold lead, once again, it's even with FlyQuest having the scaling composition. This is the control play that we were looking for out of this Academy team, Kangas, and it's a play style that it's very different from the other teams in this tournament, but because FlyQuest execute it so well, makes them a team that, to me, is really interesting to watch, because we don't see a lot of other teams playing this controlled in the early game, and it's really nice and refreshing to see this Academy squad make good decisions early to just lose gracefully and still keep themselves in good position to win, as even footing with the scaling Victor, the scaling Cho'Gath, Kangas, things are looking up for FlyQuest at the moment. This is a pretty favorable game state for them, and it's a lot is going to come down to this next Dragon, because it's either Soul Point for Dignitas or FlyQuest get the Dragon, and they buy themselves an extra 5 minutes where time is their friend.
This is where the changes to the Dragon, I know it's been a while since the changes to the Elemental Drake, over a year now, but just fun to see what it can do to the game, right? We have all these conversations about chasing that Dragon Soul, but teams playing safe, playing more patiently, having the option to scale instead. 2 Dragons is fine for Dignitas Academy, but unless you can get towards that soul, you're really not getting that much gold worth of stats. So with gold now even in the game here, is a very even game state, so who's favored in these fights currently? Maybe FlyQuest Academy can look for their own, but it's always going to come down to execution, and they actually pull it off here. Yasui looking for some damage around Takuma. Looks like they have swapped up their lane assignments. I believe it was FlyQuest Academy that actually opted for that, sending Kumo against the Yone, hoping that Cho'Gath can just soak him up.
And you can see that they are matching the Yone with Cho'Gath on purpose, because getting a Victor in a side lane, that would be a danger point for FlyQuest, but they have members mid. They're going to pressure this wave and maybe open up some space for them to take this second Rift Herald Kangas before Dragon spawns. You can see both NXI and Triple hugging that side of the map. And now Kumo, in a
He
little
could
bit
be in
of trouble.
Flashes away very early. Acadian trying to follow up, throws out that ultimate, but I don't know if they're actually going to take him. JJ's here. Do they go for a dive onto a Cho'Gath with a full item completed? He's a big boy, but maybe they have enough burst. Maybe they can actually take him down. They do. JJ's got such a big health bar, plus that ultimate was limping away. He's burning. You see, he's taking damage. What a chop! He's got to go back. Is the turret going to be enough? Oh, Flash just barely keeps Yasui alive. That was so much just for a kill. Meanwhile, FlyQuest, they get the Herald, they drop it mid. They'll get first turret.
Yeah, and FlyQuest, we talked about them trading across the map. Kumo, props to him, bought so much time during that fight that they were able to secure the Rift Herald for free, drop that, open up the mid lane turret, which is so important for FlyQuest. We talked about their dragon setups. Now that this turret's down, it allows for them to set up 4 flanks, for Kumo, for NXI, favorable angles for the Cho'Gath and the Hecarim to come into these fights with, and Dignitas, because that play got so delayed in the bot lane, Kangas, they were not able to set up for this dragon. And look at this dragon control from FlyQuest. This is what we praise the team about. They've been playing around mid, taking away the vision, and all of a sudden, because of the map state, because of how they've been able to play this one, they're just going to get a free dragon for themselves and buy an extra 5 minutes. So once again, the game state for FlyQuest, so favorable for them, and now that their comp's starting to hit their stride a little bit more, it's really where FlyQuest hits their comfort zone. And I love seeing these very controlled decisions come out of this team.
Man, we're really gonna... Dignitas are putting a lot of expectation on Yasui to carry with that 1 kill that he got right there. They're like, we traded Rift Herald, first turret, and a dragon for Yasui to pick that one up. All right, Yasui, go! Go get him, man. You're on the Yone. But still, matching against this Cho'Gath, this is fantastic for FlyQuest Academy. Look at the armor he's stacking right now. It's so difficult for Yasui to actually do damage to him. And yeah, I mean, even if they commit more people to do another dive right now, it's still buying FlyQuest time elsewhere on the map to make things happen. They're pushing this bot side. Lorlo is not matching the same kind of push here and cashing this wave. They're just giving free pressure over to Tomo to push in that wave.
FlyQuest doing such a good job of managing their side lanes, picking the right matchups. As you mentioned too, Tomo able to secure some solo gold and XP on the Kai'Sa. Now a level ahead of Tristana, which in this matchup I actually think is kind of a big deal, because if you're able to get solo gold and XP on the Tristana and accelerate her to be a higher level than what your solo lanes are, you can get access to that extra range, and if she's able to get resets, she can really make a game oppressive. One of the reasons that we see her be a meta-defining pick at the moment. But instead, it's Dignitas that are keeping Spawn in the dual lane in mid. To be fair, this is access to 2 jungle camps, but Spawn falling a little bit behind of the Kai'Sa. Going to be a little bit concerning as this game goes, because he is the bridge to the late game, right? All that range and reset ability on the Tristana. If anything's going to break this Victor Cho'Gath in the late game, it's going to be the range and power of this Tristana as the game goes on.
He's got JJ in the lane with him for a lot of this time, so sharing XP as opposed to Tomo, who was left alone in the bot side for, I want to say, 2-3 waves right there. So it's still a level up over Spawn, now has his support joining up here. I'm looking at Dignitas, again, for the team that wants to make something happen. You know, they cannot just allow this game to scale out of their control. They will want to look for engages. Spawn and Yasui can be late game insurances, but I mean, if you're jumping in onto a Cho'Gath who's got 5k health and can just kill you from half health, pretty difficult position to be in. Meanwhile, Triple's just been slowly scaling up in the farm department, building up towards that Seraphs, and that's a big power spike there for the Victor too. So FlyQuest Academy getting towards that point where they can look to team fight and actually engage their own fights, take their own objectives away from Dignitas. So who pulls the trigger first? Seems like maybe posturing around the top half of the map.
Good setup for FlyQuest. You can see they bled out all the vision. Triple is going to crash this wave. They have silence to impact Yasui. JJ is going to get harassed coming into the lane. It might just be enough for them to pull off.
That's Alistair ult down, so that means the engage option of Dignitas Academy much less likely. Now they just go all in on Acadian. What a pickoff right there. NXI over the wall. Kumo teleports in. They don't need him, but this might just be Baron. 5 members grouped up. They got the jungler, and they have Cho'Gath ultimate still. They can burst this down pretty quickly with Leandri's on triple, and also a Kai'Sa who does a lot of damage to single targets right now, but maybe they just go for the fight instead. They re-engage now here onto JJ again. He didn't have his ultimate, so he goes down. Big knockup. Maybe Yasui. Maybe he can turn this. He's onto the backline. Does a lot of damage right there. Triple's got to limp away. FlyQuest, they opt for the fight, but Yasui, wow, that is the threat of a Yone who can dive a backline.
Dignitas, they saved the Baron from being taken with a 1-for-1, but I just love how decisive FlyQuest was in that topside jungle, Kangas. They saw the Alistar ult being used, he got zoned off into the tower. They see Acadian alone, instantly pull the trigger on the Hecarim and Kai'Sa ultimates to take down Acadian, open up that window for the Baron. It was good counterplay coming out from Dignitas as due to the fact that they were able to trade out the 1-for-1 there. Any hopes of getting Baron just got instantly thrown out the window as, you know, we had to go back to it since we already screwed up that phrase once.
Yeah, once we both chuckle at it audibly.
You got to get the callback joke. It's free.
Exactly. Let's take another look at what happened there, because, yeah, I mean, this is JJ. They got his ult down before, so you're like, okay, we can engage on the Alistar. He still has Aftershock, so he survives longer, but then watch what you see we can do here.
Yeah, and I love Spawn's positioning as well. Just using the wall to protect himself on the Tristana, goes untouched, able to free fire on the Dreams. The reason that they were able to trade out 1-for-1 while Yasui was keeping everyone busy in the backline with the Fate sealed. But now we get to the point, this is where FlyQuest want to be, right? Even footing at the 4th Dragon, almost 2 items completed on the Victor. They have 2 items on both their tanks, and there is not a Lord Dominic's Revenge on the Spawn, so he's going to have a lot of trouble getting through this front line of FlyQuest. And this is going to be a risky Dragon for Dignitas to contest, given the item points, but it feels like one that they have to contest, because as the game goes on, Kangas, it really doesn't get better for Dignitas for these compositions.
I'm looking at Yasui as the guy that's got to win this fight for Dignitas Academy. He's been the recipient of 2 kills. He's got 1.5 items completed. Oh, so close to that Infinity Edge, but not quite there. But if he can get onto Tomo, if he can get onto Triple, who both have Flash, so good luck with that, still, he can blow them up. But no, they don't. They don't want to fight FlyQuest Academy. They have the inside track. They have all this wards down. They got to that Dragon way earlier, so they will take it. But Dignitas Academy, they turned their sights on Baron. I don't think that they can take this fast enough. They don't have JJ there to play Peel either, so FlyQuest Academy can just walk forward. They're going to spot JJ out alone. Supports just see each other, like, who's going to go first? There we go, JJ's alone. Yeah, he's isolated. He's got nobody to back him up. Yeah, he's got his ultimate, but good luck buying enough time for your team to get there. Kumo gets the kill, and FlyQuest Academy not only get their Dragon, but they also get more control around the Baron.
And they only burn the Killer Instinct for that, Kanga, so they feel comfortable going for the Baron once again. As you mentioned previously, Kumo, with access to Smite and Feast, they can pressure this objective a little bit harder than what other team comps could do. Yasui's forced to make another play. Let's see if Dignitas can make this happen. It's going down fast.
Cooldowns now on Yasui. He still has the ultimate available. There we go. Cho'Gath gets it. Dream's taking a lot of damage. Yasui, if he can get onto the backline, there we go. One and engage. Gets one, flashes over the wall. Trying to stay alive, needs to carry this fight for the team. Now Spawn's in some trouble. He's got Lorlo as a front line, but Lorlo flashes away. NXI says, where do I go? On the AD carry on the top laner, back to my jungle, more likely. Maybe they can actually catch Yasui here. He's just taking red buff. Okay, there you go, Yasui. You got out.
Side.
Yeah, he was on the wrong side, but Baron is picked up and secured by FlyQuest Academy.
And this is the control that we talk about from FlyQuest, so measured. And when they're taking these fights, Kangas, and how they are pressuring, they knew that they could push for that Baron, given the fact they had the Feast, they had the Smite into Dignitas, considering they were able to take the 1-for-1 early. And FlyQuest taking that Baron off the map once again. This isn't like a game-breaking play that's, you know, pushing things in favor of FlyQuest where they're going to end the game in the next 5 minutes, but just these minute plays that keep on buying time, keep on giving them little advantages. And once again, as the game goes on, they keep on scaling harder. And NXI, love how he pretty much forces Spawn out of the backline. Spawn wasn't able to safely auto-attack because of the ultimate from the Hecarim, just zoning him out. From their FlyQuest, even though they're stuck in the pit, they're able to get out with a reasonable team fight where they don't get wiped, and they continue to hold control over this game as they have Baron. These outers are about to fall, Kangas, and you got to think that FlyQuest is going to get a nice gold injection from this power play.
Dignitas did not want FlyQuest to be ahead in gold at this stage of the game. They are the comp that really wants to push the envelope at the early stages and actually try and find the earlier plays, but FlyQuest, maybe this is the play that turns it around for Dignitas. No, they just get flash out of Kumo. So Cho'Gath successfully dodges that one. That means 2 turrets for FlyQuest on the top half of the map. The outer and the mid tier. Now they have this cannon to start sieging on this inhibitor turret, but yeah, I think that's kind of a waste of time right there. They will decide to back off as it's too easy for Dignitas to rotate.
Yeah, and I don't hate the contest from Dignitas. I mean, they know that against a Victor, they don't have much hope of rivaling his siege power. So they're just trying to find something where they can get a flash out of Kumo. Not ideal with all the investment, but Cyan ult's up soon. At least Dignitas finds something to trade, and they have a target that they can maybe attack now as these fights continue. But FlyQuest, they take both those turrets, right? They're now up 3k gold. They quickly base. They go and spend that gold. They're going to try and knock down the 2 outers now in the bot lane, moving both their carries there as they continue to use this Baron power play to once again not break the base, but just grant them minor wins that keeps granting them more control over this game.
3k in the lead now. It's just going to steadily climb if they can keep taking down these turrets here. Tomo's on the bot lane. Unmatched right now, but we do see Yasui hanging out around there, so he's going to try and catch that wave. Dignitas have no vision of their own bottom side jungle. FlyQuest have done a really good job of starving this out, sweeping it out, so they can actually push this in. That's a lot of damage onto Yasui right there, who tried to actually fight Tomo, but because of that health bar trade, he's got to back off now. Yeah, that's going to be all but 1 mid-tier turret's taken at 27 minutes into the game. This is a really strong performance from FlyQuest. After, the first couple minutes, seemed like they were going Dignitas's way. They got the kill bot side. They got 2 kills bot side in the laning phase, but good on FlyQuest, keeping their cool, keeping their composure, and now keeping the siege up here onto the mid turret.
And this is just FlyQuest. This is the style they like to play. They're playing towards what they like to do, and their composition just very controlled, right? As it's a longer game. It doesn't look beautiful for the viewer. It's not a 20-minute wipe, but man, with the champions they have, it really is some pretty League of Legends as they just use that Baron to pretty much knock down all the outers. They now have complete control over this Ocean Dragon once again, and their objective control this game, Kangas, has been so powerful, and it's really just making things hard for Dignitas to snowball through the lead they were able to get early. FlyQuest just had the right answers for it, and in this controlled measure game, really benefits FlyQuest, their composition, and we're seeing them now really start to take control over this one with this 3rd Ocean Dragon going over to them. Gets them on Ocean Soul Point. Dignitas are going to trade a little bit of gold in the top lane onto Yasui, but FlyQuest still like the game state they're in. Very favorable for them. They're even going to give Kumo an extra stack here.
Also just realizing that Mountains is the only dragon that we haven't seen yet, so sorry, Kobe, your prediction was off. He missed. Kumo does not actually get the stack on that dragon.
Come on, Kumo.
Unfortunate.
He didn't calculate the sunfire damage. It was a little bit off.
True, yeah.
Should have used the calculator.
It was a bug. It was a bug in the game. So. But that is 3rd dragon picked up. You talk about the objective control. It's awesome to see a team that has incredible objective control, but is also willing to give over those early objectives like we were mentioning before. They're not pressured to say, let's fight when we don't have our strengths. They're saying, let's fight when we do, and then control the objectives from that point forward, because they haven't lost anything. I don't even think they've lost a turret since like the 15-minute mark into this game. I'll have to check the tapes back on that one. But either way, having an immaculate early to mid-game transition right now. Can they transition it into the late game? They have 3 items and most of their carries. Someone's taking a lot of damage right there. Is this the engage? JJ trying to peel right now, and XI running in onto the backline. Yeah, they just got to lock down this AD carry. They take down Spawn. They take down Yasui. He's burning down a shutdown onto Tomo. Maybe Acadian can turn this one around. Maybe he can trade 1 kill. That's all they want. Just the 1, but it's not even going to happen. A triple for Tomo. FlyQuest winning another team fight. This is a very, very impressive performance from this team, and honestly, they might just be able to break open these inhibitors right now.
It was a good start to the fight for Dignitas. Spawn chunked out Tomo significantly, but the follow-up from the Hecarim, from the Victor, Spawn just got CC locked. He wasn't able to use his flash or buster shot, underestimating the power of FlyQuest at that moment of the game. And with the carries of Dignitas being knocked out and the jungler, they're ripping towards this Baron. They might just try and burn it off the map once again, Kangas, as FlyQuest have opened this one wide open.
Baron will fall very fast right now. Nobody from Dignitas will be able to contest. I don't even know if, Lorlo's just kind of wasting time walking up here. He's not going to accomplish much, right? Maybe they go for a crazy bowling ball. They're just trying to stall out. Yeah,
they need to go for
Baron's gone. There was no chance. They have a TP coming in. FlyQuest is trying to retreat right now. They could maybe just win this fight still. They don't have all their ultimates available, but they do have Kumo, who's got such a big health bar. Dignitas just can't kill him. They re-engage back in onto Kumo yet again. JJ goes in, but what's your damage supposed to do? How is Spawn getting into this fight? Maybe Yasui gets over the wall, but he can't even kill anybody. He's on NXI, he's on Kumo, he's not on Tomo, not on that key member he needs. Lorlo caught out from the rest of his team. He's got to retreat, but he can't. Tomo picks up that kill. NXI and Kubo chasing the rest of Dignitas Academy. It's chaos in the fight, but it's FlyQuest walking out on top. He's doing it with a huge engage. I don't think it's enough. Yep, a double kill to Thomo. Unfortunate to say the least, but FlyQuest will walk away with their heads held high. They get the Baron. They have Supers pushing mid. That's going to be game.
The heroics on the backside from Spawn, not enough. Dignitas, they realize that if they just let them reset and set up around the Dragon, the game was lost, so they try and force there. Respect the dig for the force. Not enough, though, as they drop. JJ and Spawn now left to try and hold the base.
Okay, Spawn's actually doing a good job of doing some damage. NXI very low. JJ with a good clean engage, but Spawn's just got to stay alive, and he doesn't. Unfortunate. There we go. Curse will fall. Nexus will follow. FlyQuest Academy will go up 1-0 in the series. They're one win away from continuing their run in the lower bracket.
And I just love the playstyle from FlyQuest. We talked about how it's different, but it plays to their strengths, right? The triple on these late game mages, so consistent. They know how to front to back. They feel comfortable relying on Tomo and triple to really carry the brunt of the damage with these two threat comps. And their early game decision making, they're not securing leads, but they're always giving themselves a game state where at the third dragon, the fourth dragon, they feel like they can win a fight with their scaling team. They did just that in that one, and what a good game coming out from FlyQuest as they win a controlled bout in 32 minutes and take game 1 against Dignitas.
We said a lot of that game would be decided on Yasui's Yone. If he can get fed, if he can really run away in the early game, he can actually transition that into being a threat later on. But you look at the builds going in from FlyQuest. They had Randuin's Omens on their tanks, and their carries were always sitting right behind their tanks. So not a lot that Yasui could actually do in that one. We'll see what adaptations come through for game number 2, because there's still a chance for Dignitas to come back in this one. They got to win 2 in a row if they want to keep their Proving Ground circuit dreams alive. But we'll see what happens after this short break, so don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody. Quick break before we're getting ready here for game number 2. Dignitas Academy versus FlyQuest Academy. FlyQuest played their composition beautifully, but most importantly, everybody, thank you for retweeting Cubby's tweet. We have successfully made him change his Twitter profile picture. And it's beautiful. I think it's incredible.
Yes.
But that point aside, talking about the games that people are actually here to watch, what's Dignitas' strat right now, Cubby? They're the team with multiple ex-LCS players. A lot of pressure on this team to perform here against academy and amateur level players. And so far, it looks like they might have an early out in this tournament.
FlyQuest, we've talked so much about their style, and it was great to see them execute upon that cleanly in the first game. Tomo positioning around the 2-threat comp was fantastic, and Victor was just too much for Dignitas to deal with as the game moved on. They had some nice early attempts, some nice early plays, but ultimately, FlyQuest just biding their time, losing gracefully until they outscaled, where they really took the game under their control, ended up winning in 32 minutes, Kangas, and I'm curious to see if Dignitas, if they opt to try and match that, maybe with some more scaling of their own, or if they keep on trying to win early. We've seen Acadian put together some good early games. We've seen Lortho have some nice top lane counters that he was able to cash out on early. And I'm curious to see if Dignitas maybe swap sides, try and get Lortho counterpick on red, and try and play a little bit more aggressive in the early game to stop FlyQuest from scaling, because once they get into the later parts of the game, this team's really good. They make good decisions. They're consistently team fighting very consistently. Their carries are doing their jobs. They're being safe. And they look like a tough team to break unless you smack them early like Evil Geniuses did in the first round.
And when we look at Dignitas and their kind of identity as a team, throughout Academy, oftentimes they were winning just through being better lane for lane than their opponents. I mean, they have a lot more experience than a lot of the Academy teams coming in here. But throughout the year, yeah, they finished 4th in Academy, but other teams have caught up. Other teams have gotten better, and the players have been developing, and it's no longer that case where you can just go into a game and expect that Dignitas will win their lanes. We saw what Yasui was trying to do against Triple in that lane, and unfortunately wasn't able to pull it off. So you say Lorlo might be the focus here. If you can get him on something that he's comfortable on, try and carry through the top lane. I'm still looking at Yasui's performance, thinking maybe if you run that back and you just don't go in and die to, Dreams and Triple in that one instance that he dove a little too aggressively, maybe that game turns out very differently. So I think that there's things that Dignitas can look at to improve, but I'm not calling this yet. I still think that there's a good chance that Dignitas can come back for a game number 2, and I'm excited to see what adaptations they bring in. So while we're getting prepared for pick and ban here, Cubby, I got a question for you. If you're from FlyQuest side right now and you're looking at your players, you're looking across the board, who are you putting your gold onto for this next performance? Because we saw everybody show up. I think that Kumo, Triple, and Tomo all had breakout performances. But who do you think is like the key carry to watch for on this team currently?
I think just keep on setting up Triple and Tomo for success. Like, these players, their strength, it's not like they have bad laning phases, but they aren't known for winning games straight up in lane. But as the game goes on, their consistency and how they're positioning in these team fights, just keep on running some 2-threat comps. I think Kumo on utility did a nice job in that game, just doing his job. The Cho'Gath last pick, it gives Sion a headache in lane, and then we saw that Yasui couldn't do anything against it in the sides, and FlyQuest were intelligently continued to match the Cho'Gath into the Yone just to make sure that a Victor couldn't get blown up in the side lane. So I think FlyQuest played really well in that first game, but they lost gracefully. They hit the stride in their composition and then just were able to take control of the game from there. And it's really on Dignitas. Let's see how they can break that. Whether that is taking more scaling for themselves or trying to break it through a jungle or through a carry matchup in one of their solo lanes. They weren't quite able to do it there with Yone. I want to see if they can do it in game 2, where once again they had side select for this game and they decided to stay on the blue side, Kangas. So still securing that first pick for themselves. I want to see if they can keep on, trying to play fast and trying to beat FlyQuest that way.
It kind of felt like in that game number 1 that we just watched that it mirrored a little bit about the first match from the day, right? The TSM Academy versus Barrage, where TSM Academy were able to just win through their solo lanes. They just bodied their opponents. But this time around, we saw a similar style of compositions against each other. But like you said, FlyQuest, they weathered the storm. They gave up early objectives rather than fighting for them, as opposed to what we saw Barrage try and do. Or maybe they fought when they weren't necessarily in their power windows. And I like to see that from a team, especially an Academy team that's still developing. And yeah, we've seen names like Kumo in LCS. Yeah, we've Dreams coming over from the LEC as well. So there are a lot of veterans on this roster too. But then you got guys like NXI we were highlighting at the beginning of the show. A lot to learn, very young talent, and a lot of potential as well. I think I don't remember if I said, I believe I did quote on a podcast one time that I think NXI will make it to an LCS team by 2022. So we're just about halfway through 2021, so I think that that window still exists. Do you agree, Cubby? Am I way off on that?
No.
Who makes it first, NXI or Kenby? That's a big question.
Ooh, that's actually an interesting question. The 2 ex-100 Thieves next junglers making big splashes in Academy this year. We might just have to let time tell how that one pans out, but it's pretty clear when you look at these two teams, like, who the developmental pieces are, right? You have NXI and Tomo on the side of FlyQuest, surrounded by players that have a little bit more experience that are looking to continue to break into the LCS. Whereas for Dignitas, Spawn, very clear that he's the developmental piece there. And
yeah,
I love the way that both Spawn and Tomo position in these late game team fights. I think that's a huge strength for both of these AD carries. They are rock solid in their positioning. And I want to see that kind of continue to develop. Watch these guys try and get those lane phases down as well. But as we keep on thinking about how we're going to get into this game, I think that Dignitas, going from talking about the developmental pieces to the members that have more experience, we might need some Lortho Acadian synergy. I think that might be one way. I don't think that Lortho is going to get counterpick on blue, but if they can somehow manufacture that for him, maybe that's a way that they can really break the game open. I like the fact that FlyQuest are early banning Gnar. It's a very high priority champion for not only their team, but also Dignitas. And they recognize the fact that they are willing to first pick that for Lortho, who has looked really good in it throughout the tournament. So I'm kind of curious, like on blue side, where Dignitas goes back to the drawing board, Kangas, because it felt like they had an idea of how to break things open. They just didn't have enough tools and weren't able to execute quickly enough and utilize their tempo to really make a big advantage in the game, where FlyQuest they sat through it, they hit their stride, and then they came back and won a pretty controlled game.
For me, it was two big factors. One was Yasui kind of had to get his own leads, right? I mean, with a Lilia jungle, you're not expecting her to, put that much pressure early game into your lane. Maybe once she hits level 6, she can start helping out with that. But we didn't see a lot of focus on getting Yasui ahead. Even the Rift Herald went down bot lane onto Spawn instead of trying to get turret plates onto Yasui, open up that mid lane like we were talking about ourselves. So that's one thing that I'd look at for Dignitas. Maybe shake up that focus of where the jungler is going to put their attention. But number two is, goes back to what Acadian said when I was talking to him before these games started. They want to play comfort this time around. Last time in their last series against Evil Geniuses, they felt like they were trying things that they hadn't practiced, especially in the top lane. So he said, nope, we're going to go back to what we know, back to what we're used to and comfortable with. I don't know if Yone's that. Like, this is kind of out of left field, right? Like, maybe they have put a lot of practice behind the scenes, so I don't want to, like, really say that as a definitive statement, but because we haven't seen them bring that out in stage games, that signals to me that maybe that's, they're getting a little over-eager again with their flex picks and their champion pools. Maybe we do just want to see Yasui back on things that we've seen him on recently, like the Orianas, like the Aries, like even the Ryze, Cassiopeia. He plays a lot of these control mages, so you could put him back on one of those.
And this is something where on blue side, you know, you have some mid lane blind picks that can really help impact the map. Something like a Twisted Fate. Maybe that's the key that Dignitas are looking for. If they can, I know they banned the Renekton on blue side in the first game. Maybe if they're able to not ban that, take something like a TF Nidalee Renekton combo or something like that, where Acadian's set up with a lot of gank assist early. Maybe that's what Dignitas needs to get through the early game. I'd say, like, softly, I like soft seeding from FlyQuest, right? I want to, like, maybe like strategically giving up things just to make sure that, like, you don't lose too much, because I mean, FlyQuest, they have a really defined style. They know how to play it well, and the only teams that we've seen have a lot of success against them are those that are able to snowball early leads and drive home the advantage that FlyQuest will give you comfortably. And I want to see if Dignitas can do that in this one, as we are getting into Game 2 of the series, Kangas.
It's not the flashiest style. It's not the highest tempo style, but it works for the team, and it's getting them wins.
It wins
Got them
games.
their first. Maybe it'll get them a second. Yeah, let's catch everybody up on the bans that we see so far. Dignitas Academy still banning out that Renekton on their blue side here. Taking away the Jinx and the Tristana as well, so some more AD carry focus. We will not see Tristana first pick from Dignitas this time around, but they also don't want to give that up, and that opens up their first pick a little bit wider.
We might have a Hecarim here. That was a big pick for NXI in the last game, and curious to see if NXI goes for the handshake of the Udyr or the Lilia. Has both up for his choosing, but I was wouldn't be surprised if FlyQuest, if they just power picked Kai'Sa Rel. We've seen that already today. It would most likely lead to a Xayah Alistar response, but Tomo and Dreams looked pretty good on that in the last game. It's a bot lane that you can blind pick, gives you a lot of dive power, deals okay with the Hecarim. You also deny that combo, so wouldn't be surprised they opt for it here in this game too.
You definitely don't want to give up Kai'Sa Hecarim combo, and yeah, the Rel pairs very well with that too. So wouldn't surprise me too much to see those two locked in here. Other options, I guess they could just try and lock in a jungler right now if they're trying to hold off something spicier as that support pick, but there's really no reason to. So yeah, Rel is the choice here for FlyQuest Academy. So we will see some differences, and this is very different.
That was fast.
Okay.
I love this lock-in. I'm a huge fan of the Senna Kench lane. It is really tough to deal with early, and this is something where Dignitas can use this to build a power point in their early game, right? Because Senna, in this lane, you're able to farm souls off of both Rel and Kai'Sa. You can position very aggressively because any engage that Rel goes for can be canceled out by the Tahm Kench. So this is something where Dignitas, if they're able to use that strength of this lane past level 3, you also get a situation where Tahm Kench is able to get gold, and then Senna gets a lot of gold value from those souls. So you also kind of get an injection of gold early as well. So Dignitas, different setup for them here, trying to use the power of that bot lane to potentially snowball a lead through them. Curious to see what they end up pairing things up with. Twisted Fate would lead to a pretty low damage composition for Dignitas, but with a carry top laner, it can be done, and it would give them so much control over the early game, which is exactly what we're looking for out of this team.
And there's a lot of carry top laners still on the table right now. I also just want to highlight the Senna following up the Hecarim. I mean, not the flashiest follow-up, right? Like you think of the Rel, the Kai'Sa that jump in there with Hecarim, but Senna can keep him alive for a very long time while he dives in. So it's kind of one of those OG combos that we saw when Senna first came out, was seeing that played with Hecarim. So awesome to see that coming out here too. The focus from FlyQuest Academy is mid laners, though. They are not worried about Twisted Fate. They are not worried about carry top laners. They say we do not want Akali, and we do not want Zoe.
And the Cho'Gath actually being taken away, which means that Dignitas, maybe they're already lining up for a Scion pick, but I would not be surprised if FlyQuest, it's a little bit tougher to play Victor into the Hecarim. This might be a game where they go for a Azir, because you can use the terrain on Tahm Kench when he does eat up the Senna. That said, seems like FlyQuest, I mean, Triple still likes the Victor, and after the recent performances we've seen out of him, who can blame him? He's looked really good on this champion, something that he has now played 4 times in the tournament going into their 6th game. Feels like comfort for FlyQuest, and Triple, I mean, he hasn't given us a reason to take him off of Victor. He's looked really good on it.
And now I'm wondering what's the blind pick here for Dignitas Academy, because, yeah, they can counter the Victor. Seems like, okay, they want to go for the Rise pick, but they got a blind pick top lane, and, yeah, there's carry top laners available, but if you lock in a carry top laner, you're opting, or you're given the option for your opponent to counter pick you at that point, so it's not going to be the little block. I don't know what JJ is doing right now. He's having some fun with us. There we go. It is the tank locked in. Sion is the choice here for Dignitas Academy, but, hey, they have more damage with that Rise pick, so they're not lacking on that front.
And Kumo, knowing his champion pool, this could easily be a Shen, something that he has been historically very comfortable on, and something that can kind of rival the early push of Sion. Instead, opting for something else that he is comfortable on, the Aatrox, the traditional counter to the Sion. And this is a composition for Dignitas where Hecarim, Sion, they both have to come into you a little bit lower on the damage side, and something that Aatrox is really going to thrive in as this game goes on. So once again, with the Senna Kench lane, with the Rise mid, Kangas, we're looking at a pretty similar setup. Dignitas looking for early game leads, looking to find things early to get themselves going at the right pace, whereas FlyQuest, time's their friend. They want this Victor scaled 2 items, and that's when they're going to hit their stride and try to really fight and outrange the Rise in team fights.
I mean, you can make that argument, sure, I can see that, but I don't think that Dignitas is pressured to make anything happen too crazy, right? They still have a lot of scaling on their end. Senna, Sion scale great into late game. Rise as well, a mid to late game just nuisance here, can just absolutely nuke people. And FlyQuest Academy, they opted for their carry top laner. So I think I'm going the opposite from that assessment.
Okay.
I'm looking at FlyQuest thinking,
I like this.
Maybe they need to make some things happen in the early stages, but we'll see which one of us is correct. Maybe Twitch chat can put up a vote or something if the production wants to go extra fancy with it. Do we agree with Kangas or with Cubby? Am I pointing the right way?
Yeah, there we go. We're going to have to see hashtag FlyWin or hashtag DigWin in the chat. We want to hear from you who you think's going to take the cake out on top as we are speeding through the rest of the pick ban here. And I think that another point of power I really want to see is how does Dignitas utilize this Rise mid with that Rune Prison? The fact that you have some early gank assist, you can make a level 4 dive happen with a TP to a side lane. I'm curious to see, I was talking about it in the last game with them trying to set up something with Lilia, level 4 dive top. I want to see a Dignitas go for that option again, because it is a way that you can snowball the map early, and something very unique that you can do with a mid laner like Rise.
Yeah, you can set up a gank for Hecarim, who's a fantastic ganker. You know, multiple CC options. Both of them provide a decent amount of damage when compared together against something like a Victor. And we do see Triple. It looks like he is taking the teleport. We'll see if that changes, but not a defensive rune choice there. So that is a susceptible lane to gank. You'll at least get the flash out of Triple early on, kind of like we saw last time. But the question is, can they actually capitalize on that flash being down then, which we did not see in that game, number 1. But we are getting ready to load into the Rift here, Cubby. This is do or die for Dignitas Academy. A lot of expectations on this team with a lot of big names on the roster. Can they clutch it out right now with a very different look in their draft from game number 1? Or will FlyQuest Academy punch a 2-0 ticket to the next round and play against TSM Academy? Only time will tell. We'll have to wait for a couple more minutes to see who's getting this early advantage right now. But again, nothing crazy happening early on, so let's play a little predictive game I like to call What's Gonna Happen, Cubby. What's gonna happen?
That's a hell of a title for the game show that we're now gonna put on.
I like to be direct with my game shows. You know,
I appreciate it. I mean, it makes it easy on me. Yeah. So the first thing I'm looking at is where do the junglers start, because I talked about the level 4 dives. You do have the option where you can stack 3 waves and try and dive them with the TP from mid. With the Rise, and it looks like NXI starting on the top side might be going full clear to bot. You can easily set up a slow push with the Senna Tom Kench lane, as they're going to get into this lane early. Fish with the Tongue Lash is Dreams. He is unmounted, trying to go for that flip, as we have 2 bot lanes that are swapping for the sweeper. Going to get some early trading, which should benefit the Kaisa lane level 1 if she's able to land those rockets. But you can see how much of a nuisance the Tom Kench is in these trades for those Tongue Lashes, and then the range that Spawn brings. It's a very powerful lane, very difficult for FlyQuest to deal with, and they're going to have to be on point if they want to survive the barrage that is this level 1 lane, as JJ...
Rel has 2 abilities, level 1 essentially, so they get Flash and Heal out of the bot lane of Dignitas. They still have Exhaust on JJ and Flash on Spawn, but Yeah, I mean, it looked great at the beginning, right? You know, Spawn has that range advantage, but Dreams just committed to the trade and says, nope, I'm rel. I got 2 uses of my W early on in the laning phase and making full use of that.
Love to see both bot lanes playing min-maxing, especially with both junglers pathing towards the bot side. Now that we have a couple summoner spells off the board down there, Kangas, we might see the junglers more tempted to make an early play. As actually, just like game 1, we see Acadian scooting his way around this ward.
He's going right for it?
Going
it's
for
worded
earlier
this time.
timing. Yeah, this is a nice adaptation from FlyQuest. They got punished with this play game 1, and they already have that ward down to expect this in game 2.
They saw Tomo walk up there after they get the flash out of JJ. Tomo did walk up towards that tri-bush, so I feel like this is kind of over-aggressive from Dignitas. There's just time wasted from Acadian when they should have guessed that Vision was placed down and that play would not work out. But regardless, he does try and go for it. Now, half of the camps that NXI has, who has just been hard power farming right now throughout his entire jungle and is on the bot side still, but I believe he was spotted by a ward while he was coming down, so Dignitas playing very safe. Acadian's still here. Maybe they just force the engage. They're jumping onto JJ. They know that there's no flash. Dignitas comes down, teleports coming in. Acadian's jumping straight in onto Tomo, who's got to be very careful.
He's level 2.
No summoner spells available, and he goes down. First blood picked up by Dignitas. Flash away from Dreams. Everybody's partying in the bot lane. 3.5 minutes into the game. Why not have a 5v5? Why not give us some entertainment? It's Dignitas picking up 2 in the early game.
And I was talking about the early ports for the dive, but Dignitas, they used the early ports to all in the bot lane. NXI, he walked over a ward to get into that brush, and even though the jungler of Dignitas is down a level, Dignitas' bottom laner down sums, they TP to the play first, they get the win, Kangas, and they have a significant early game lead, exactly what Dignitas needs going into FlyQuest and their team comp. Good early play coming out from the blue side as it was risky, but in the end, they come out on top.
Man, we're talking about who's going to scale better, who's getting to the late game better. Nah, man, it's 5 players bot lane from both teams, 3.5 minutes in, duking it out, trying to get that first blood and then trying to turn it back around, but it's Dignitas coming out on top. What a play from them, and it started off by FlyQuest. It looks good to start.
And they're just all winning the Tom Kench, right? They already used the shield break. JJ, he's just staying strong with the thick skin, never under threat, and Tomo, he actually, when he went to drop that ward that you see at the top left of your screen, Kangas, he missed a creep. So he was actually level 2 instead of level 3 for that play. Ends up getting punished, didn't have all the summoners, and FlyQuest, they just get ran down and routed by the side of Dignitas, who utilized that early strength of their bot lane to turn around the play, get themselves a significant lead. And let's see how Dignitas can snowball this in this game, Kangas, because last game we saw them get a little bit of a lead. They were never able to truly drive it home to make it a game-winning lead. But this game, they have to make it a game-winning lead if they want to keep their tournament hopes alive.
Look at where the kills went to. That's what I want to focus on. Yasui and Spawn picking those ones up. The carries that will be doing the damage, right? This is ideal for Dignitas at this point of the game. So if they can't actually continue snowballing this into an advantage, that's going to be definitely a botched early game from them at that point, or at least a botched transition towards a mid game. But it is Dragon started up here by FlyQuest Academy.
This is risky.
Dignitas do have the answer, but there are no TPs, so it will just be bot laners versus junglers. NXI's low. There we go. Dreams goes in for the engage, but they don't think that Acadian's there. Acadian just comes in. It's a trade of supports, so at least JJ goes down. FlyQuest can say that they got that one, but Yasui 1v1 in triple here while Tomo's getting CC'd. NXI now all alone here. They're split. FlyQuest are completely split away from each other, and NXI will
down.
fall. Spawn gets the kill. Oh, Dignitas, this is about as good as it could possibly go for you in the
Up that they had the timer to sneak it there, but Dignitas, the strength paying off for them, and this is not the controlled game that we want to see out of FlyQuest. Now triple, he's in trouble. He might be going down.
Dreams is there too, but it doesn't matter. Yasui's there too. It's a 2v2, and unfortunately, Triple's health bar was just too low. Maybe NXI can turn now onto Acadian. They know that. Ace. NXI will catch that mid wave, but yeah, back-to-back plays going in Dignitas' favor. They find themselves with a 2.5K
they're not stopping.
lead.
He has ultimate. He has all. They want this.
There's exhaust used by JJ. He's going to tank up the turret shots. Tomo in a lot of trouble right now, and he goes down. Now Dreams, he was trying to play hero. He was trying to save his AD carry.
Wow.
Oh, but he just gives another kill over to Dignitas. That was a dive.
And a triple wave lost as well. Dignitas, a significantly better early game coming out from them. They do not want to go down in this tournament early, Kangas, as they have found winning play after winning play across the map. Whew. And unfortunately, we're in a pause. FlyQuest, we have a tech issue, but man, FlyQuest, a doomsday scenario for them in this early game.
I was going to order... I was debating. Dude, I was like, before going into this game, do I order my Grubhub now? So that way it comes by the time the game's over and I can enjoy my food. But yeah, happy I didn't, because at the look at things right now, we're probably going to a game 3. Dignitas have a mountain of a lead right now, and all the gold funneled onto their carries. If they throw this, I'm losing some faith in into the Dignitas organization, the coaching staff. I'm calling them out right now. I guess I can't even say coaching staff. They're like the one academy team that doesn't have a coach currently. But yeah, this is like the best possible situation.
They've got Invert. Invert's doing the heavy lifting here for Dig Academy. Yeah. As actually,
who has a bigger lead? Oh, sorry, what?
I was about to say Invert and JJ actually formerly of University of Toronto as well.
True.
So a little bit of synergy between those guys as he's doing his best with the academy team that he has, and also Dignitas Mirage, I believe, may be lending a hand as well. But hey, for Dignitas, if you are Invert, you've got to be so happy with the start of this game, playing around the Senatom Kench early. We talked about the early power of this lane, and FlyQuest not fully respecting the early power either, playing into the full 5-man TP party in the bot lane that got a lead for Dignitas. And I love how Acadian has taken that lead on the Hecarim and has now snowballed it into the mid lane and into the bot lane once again. As I think they're a 4K gold once we hop out of the pause on the broadcast, Kangas.
It's going to be tough for FlyQuest to come back from this one. We were praising them in that game number 1, saying you did such a good job like giving up stuff, right? You know, not playing too aggressively, playing patient, playing for your power windows. And this time around, they do the exact opposite. They try and engage. They try and be aggressive early on. Like I had said, I wanted them to be fair, but it's not working out for them as we take another look at this dive.
Yeah, it's just kind of like When the Levee Breaks, Kangas, as if you got the song reference to that. I feel like I have to get more into like the boomer mindset, since, you know, the profile picture is very much, it's out there a little bit. But that said...
If anybody doesn't know the song When the Levee Breaks...
Oh, such a great song.
I'll feel truly like a boomer.
It's an instant classic. As FlyQuest trying to contest Rift Herald. We have another fight.
It is picked up here by FlyQuest. Can they win the fight afterwards, though? They got to. They cannot escape. Otherwise, JJ frontlining. There we go. Tomo jumps straight in onto JJ, but now he's alone. He's got no one keeping him safe. And FlyQuest are stuck on the wrong side of the map. Teleport's coming in to get them to safety. And one of them will, but Kubo unfortunately will not. Now he's just going to try and buy time. Maybe he can 1v1 Acadian for a bit right now, but
I don't think it's a 1v1.
And Spawn are backing up. Yep, it's going to be a 1v3. Who gets the kill? Lorlo given that one. I hope the Rift Herald was worth it, because you just gave a lot for that objective.
Yeah, Lorlo smashed to wrap up the kill as FlyQuest. It feels like they're pressuring themselves to make some reliable early plays when they just don't have the strength, Kangas. And this is the exact opposite of what we saw from them game 1. And to be fair, what we saw from Dignitas game 1 as well is they have taken this lead and punished FlyQuest every single time they've tried to contest an objective and really opened themselves up a lead that, as you said, should not be thrown at this point. As FlyQuest, they get the Rift Herald, but look at the Teamfight Dreams. He's still level 4. He does blow all of his cooldowns and goes down. Tomo looking to clean up JJ, but once again, not calculating the thick skin. JJ didn't even need to pop it at spawn, and JJ on the Senatom Kench continued to be that point of power. And Triple, he bails on his solo lane brother, Kumo, who, to be fair, both of them would have been going down if they decide to stick around. And Lore, though, I like the empowered Scion Q. You know, it's a little bit of style. The full charge.
Boom. Big dunk. Yeah, there we go. Dignitas turned that lead into their Dragon. First picked up of the game right now.
Oh my goodness. Senna has Kraken Slayer already.
That is 3-0-6 already. As Yasui 1v1 in triple right there in the mid lane. Does actually get a huge huge chunk of damage. Return drop top side, so okay. I like this. FlyQuest not just laying down and taking it. They are fighting back on the Rift. Maybe they can get a kill onto Lorlo too. Okay, Lorlo's just chasing away from the wave. Joe's walked in. It doesn't go down. Here's Relmore coming in from Yasui. NXI a little too far forward. Kumo saw it coming. He said, this time it's my turn to abandon my teammate. But at least NXI gets that too. Has to use the flash. No one goes down. It's just turret plates over to FlyQuest Academy. But Dignitas, they are so willing to make that play. And the Dream's taking a lot of damage down on the bot side too.
Spawn is so incredibly powerful this game with the Kraken Slayer already finished, Kangas. We talked about how the Senna Kench lane, it gets really strong early because the Tom Kench farms, the Senna just farms up the souls. But with all the kills they have, they are accelerated further into this game. There's Kumo, he's popping the wings, but I think it's going down.
Dignitas want the dive. It's just that easy. Kumo was ulting, but he took a lot of damage from the wave and Lorlo while he was trying to trade aggressively, so... Easy cleanups there for Dignitas Academy. Maybe NXI can do something here. No, he's like, okay, I guess you get flash out of Lorlo.
He gets
something, sure.
As FlyQuest, they'll take anything on the Rift right now. It is all Dignitas. And with the jungler showing at the top side, you can just see how aggressively Spawn and JJ are positioning as... Oh,
here's the engage. They jump right in. They got to get Spawn. He's got both summoner spells up, but there's the chain CC. He does flash away. Teleport's coming in to keep him alive. Can he stay alive? He does, but barely goes down right there. Kumo completes the teleport, picks up the shutdown. That is big for FlyQuest.
So they find a play on the map, the first play that goes in favor of FlyQuest. Also, they get Lorlo's teleport, who, NXI, he's going to crash that wave and should take the first tower for FlyQuest. Actually, okay, going to opt to leave it up, so might look to farm that way for Kumo to potentially get the plates, but at least FlyQuest, they are still trying to find plays, Kangas. They're trying to punish summoners being down, and I like the fact that once they committed to the engage in the bot side, TP by Kumo instantly used. They knew they needed the help. They were able to get the help, and it pays off for them.
They get both summoner spells out of Spawn, too. They get exhaust out of JJ. That was everything used defensively from Dignitas to try and keep Spawn alive, but they cannot make it happen. That is, I was about to say, yeah, I mean, like, Tobo and Dreams just trying to catch these waves, right? Like, they're just hard shoved under turret, but then they make that kind of aggressive play. You love to see that from Dreams, who's coming in here to Academy League from the LEC off of a fairly disappointing split for himself, but now showing just what you can do with a little bit of mindset readjustment right now. It doesn't matter that you're down, 5K gold. You just need that one play. That's all it takes to turn around the game right now. Maybe FlyQuest can still drag this one back because that's a big shutdown there onto Kumo.
Yeah, they need like 5 more of those one plays to get this one back. But hey, you got to start with one.
No pressure, Dreams.
Yeah, the plates do fall, and it is a 4.5K gold lead for Dignitas. So those early fights just going their way, using the power of the Senna Kench. And once Senna gets this Rage Blade finish, Kangas, she is going to be so powerful. We'll have to get a soul check on her pretty soon as well, just to think about how much extra range she's going to have. But it's really tough to deal with because Dignitas, they are a relatively low range composition, except for the Senna, right? And if she's in the backline firing off all of that artillery damage, that support for the rest of her team, Arcadia and Yasui, it might just buy enough space for them to run rampant and get all the damage down in these fights, which Ryze can do if he's able to walk into range. Oh my goodness.
And you also have the range of Spawn to back you up right there, but okay, FlyQuest trying to position on the top half. Not going to find it. Yasui playing very patiently, very passive. Doesn't want to walk too far forward and give up his own shutdown. That'd be an extra 450 gold funneled into any carry that can get that one. FlyQuest have multiple carries that would love to pick that up too. Pretty much any of their laners, but Triple's also in a lot of danger right now. Realmort coming in. Maybe the gravity will help him out, but no, he just flashes away and has no damage to follow up. Dignitas easily dive FlyQuest mid laner, and they will claim a mid turret as well.
I love Dignitas using the semi-globals they have from the Ryze. Yasui, a proactive play. They take down Triple. They buy themselves that mid lane turret. So difficult to break against the Victor, but so important for Dignitas as it gives them more space on the map to start taking camps, as Acadian does take away the Raptor camp. And that kill should set them up nicely for this Dragon, which once again, I don't think FlyQuest can go.
Kumo a little far forward. Okay, does get back safely. The level 1 Tahm Kench ultimate doesn't actually carry you that far, so Dignitas cannot fully route Kumo towards the rest of the team, but they can secure this dragon. There was not much that FlyQuest could have done to answer, but at least they're trading objectives across the map. They're going to lose bot turret too, but they will get this Rift Herald and a turret on the top half.
Looks like NXI peeled off the Rift Herald, a little bit scared as they didn't have mid priority. But they did use Triple's teleport on the Timer Dragon to go secure that top lane as Kumo.
Yasui doesn't have flash. Okay, Stridebreaker used by Kumo just to stay out of the engage range of Yasui. And will do just fine here catching this wave that Yasui will continue to try and push in. But yeah, we see Dignitas even checking that Rift Herald, like, are they on it? Are they going to try it? But nope, not taken by FlyQuest, so it's just the turret traded. They're back down to 6k gold in the hole. And Dignitas, this is a very different look to their team than we saw last time around. They're decisive, and they are pushing these leads. I love specifically Yasui on this Rise pick and the rotations that he's been able to pull off as opposed to when he was playing the Yone and just kind of stuck in his own solo lane.
Yeah, that's the power of the Rise and the Tahm Kench combination. We haven't even talked about how you can really punish side lanes overextending. And FlyQuest, realizing that, they push up past river with 4, as if they only push up as 1, that could be an insta Rise port, a Kench port into that lane to punish, as they're actually looking for it, right? Looking to see if FlyQuest stuck around, but they base in the right spots that time. It does not end up getting punished. And Dignitas continue to stick around as a team to punish FlyQuest at every turn, as they've now cracked this open to a 2-dragon and 6k gold lead Kangas. And this game, it doesn't look like Dignitas is letting this lead up.
Like, how is FlyQuest supposed to answer this? It's just JJ, Spawn, and Acadian goon squatting it together, walking around the map. Just like, come at us. Like, what are you going to do? Engage on the Tahm Kench, Senna Hecarim? Like, or get engaged on, more likely. Like, if they fight anybody, they can just go all in. But it's just clearing vision. It's making sure that there's not a single ward placed by FlyQuest in or past the river. Save for those 2 on the top side of the map, but those ones should be cleared here shortly, as they are currently. Dignitas now should get this Rift Herald. FlyQuest, they need to find something, but there's just so few options that Dignitas are even giving them.
Yeah, and there's something, it's just going to be making sure that they get access to their camps. They're okay seeding neutrals at the moment. And this is a lull state where they can get some farm, but JJ trying to break that. He's using the port. They're double porting.
Tahm Kench, yeah, they're trying to use these semi-globals to get in onto FlyQuest, but FlyQuest are under their turret. Maybe they get Dreams. Yep. Rel's tanky, but not tanky enough, especially with no items. Easy pickup there for Dignitas. They're going to drop the Herald. This is a big power play for them.
Good to see the mid-jungle duo of Dignitas syncing up there, too. The Rune Prison into a great split from Acadian on that ultimate. Because they are going to use that power, use that kill, and the second Rift Herald to take down the rest of what is of this top lane turret Kangas. And Dignitas continue to make the right plays, continue to not let up, continue to want to push this series to a 3rd game. They are not done in Proving Grounds yet. And they put on quite the performance here in this game, too.
A very different look overall from the team between the 2 games. Also, a different look for both teams, honestly. We're seeing a lot of flexibility in each team's draft and each team's play style, but we are seeing that there seems to be a style that works better than others as we get a replay of this dive. Yeah, Dreams, the only member to get caught out there.
And also good timing for Acadian. With Rel, you can buffer the W against CC. You cannot cancel it if they go too early, but Acadian holding on to that E knockback to the perfect time where you do cancel the dismount from Dreams is going to end up picking up the other 4-legged creature on the Rift. I should say at least like with a mechanical horse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla there, maybe.
It's like, if you remember that call from Captain Flowers over the weekend of the 4 junglers with 4, or the 3 junglers with 4 legs. Yeah. I was so confused when he made that call because I forgot in Italy, she in cougar form she's got 4 legs. Rel's kind of the same thing, right? It's like if she's in the human form, I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I don't get it. But I guess she's more iconic, more known for the horsey form. So I'll give it to you. Clop Clop goes Dreams around the map, but not finding much for himself this game. He had that one good play on the bot side where Spawn did get engaged on. They picked up that kill. We need to, like you said, like 5 more of those. That's it. That's all FlyQuest need to do. I mean, it's that simple, everybody, really.
Yeah, and it feels like FlyQuest, with the Dragon coming up, they decided not to contest it. They're now trying to make a play on Yasui. They do get his flash, so NXI trading up with a flash there, but with those members of FlyQuest showing in the top side, Kangas, they're seeding this dragon, and this is going to be sole point going over to Dignitas very early. FlyQuest recognizing they just need more time to, keep this gold lead at 6K, and if they keep it at that deficit, time is their friend, right? The more golds in the game, the less of a deficit 6K is. So FlyQuest making the decision to not go for this dragon once again, as they feel pressured still by Dignitas' early game. And who can blame them with how bad Spawn and Acadian are? Acadian, 100% kill participation stat that I know you love, Kangas, to see coming out of the jungle.
That is incredible performance here from Acadian. We are trying to highlight who's going to look better. The more veteran LCS experienced jungler or NXI, the young blood, brand new to the scene. Not even a full year of competitive experience under his belt, but here we go. The engage. They say we're going to give up the dragon, but at least we will get one pick. Yasui does fall down, and oh no.
Oh, it's tragic. I think the Aftershock got it for the support of FlyQuest. Not the person that you want to grab that shutdown, but still, FlyQuest, a smart play from them, catching out Yasui. They at least get something back in return.
That, is something. At least the gold's on your team, right? See, now Dreams can tank up so much more and keep the team alive. Yeah, there we go. It's all
there we go.
According to plan. It's all coming together right now. Tomo didn't need that second item power spike.
Yeah, who needs LDR versus Scion Hecarim, right?
Exactly. It's
not
at
necessary.
that point, it's overkill. Yeah, you're completely fine. But Dragon was picked up by Dignitas during that time, so yeah, you lose your mid laner, but you take that trade still because you're on Dragon Soul Point. And still just massively ahead in terms of gold lead right now. It's still 5K. That doesn't really balloon FlyQuest into anything more on the map either. They don't even take that top turret. Just get the wave shoved in, but these are now being caught by Dignitas. So eyes still on Dignitas. How are they going to close this one out? How do they continue their advantages and make sure that they hold on to this gold lead to transition from the mid game into the late game? They have a lot of scaling options, but FlyQuest, they still have, potential, right? Let's put it that way. I'm trying to play the good guy right now, Cubby. I don't know. Am I doing it?
It looks grim.
How am I succeeding?
You're doing okay. I think that any hope for FlyQuest, you got to get Victor to 2-3 items, and then maybe you can pray. I will give FlyQuest some props. That was a disastrous early game start, but they've been trying their best to play the map out okay, and they have narrowed the gold lead to 5K, so a couple positive plays going over to them. Those were at the cost of the dragon stacking for Dignitas. So FlyQuest, they have to fight the rest of the dragons. And I like the fact that with their lead, Dignitas is picking one side of the jungle to try their best to control. A little bit tougher to take over the top side with the Ocean Soul. Those extra brushes, you can sneak in a few extra wards. But Dig clearing out the vision, trying to at least threaten a dragon setup where maybe FlyQuest overextend into them to try and contest and find a pick with these rune prisons and the combo with Acadian.
FlyQuest is the point of the game where you just have these little mini games. It's no longer about, hey, how do we win this game? It's, hey, how do we get 1,000 more gold in our pocket than our opponent? Yep. How do we get even 500? How do we push this one wave and try and get a little bit of lane stay position for us? Because Triple does have 2 items completed, so that is a pretty big power. So actually, everybody on their team hitting those 2 items completed. So at least they can start to look to fight if things do come up. Actually, right now, as I say that, I'm looking at Dreams compared to JJ. Totally forgetting that the Tom Kench is the farmer in that lane. So, Nick, say that last point that I just made.
Tom Kench is at 2 items? Oh, my goodness.
Yep. Tom Kench is at... He's 3-1-5 there, brother.
On the bright side, that might be the most efficient LDR I've ever seen out of Tomo. That item's going to feel damn good. So that might help. But still, FlyQuest, as you mentioned, find themselves at a deficit. And the minigame that you mentioned... for FlyQuest, how to get 1K more gold. I like to see that being denied by Dignitas, right? While we were covering the top lane setup, they were able to deny that red buff, take that for themselves away from FlyQuest side of the map. So Dignitas using their early priority to try and keep on snowballing this lead through and trying to now break the backs of FlyQuest, which with this early reset, 90 seconds before this Ocean Soul for Dignitas, Kangas, Dignitas are resetting early, making sure they have plenty of time to set up this mid lane, this bot side river. And we have to see FlyQuest contest this. They cannot outscale Ocean Soul this game. And this is where FlyQuest are now forced to make a stand.
I got it, Cubby.
Oh.
The mini game FlyQuest focus on next. You got to kill on JJ, Spawn, and Yasui. you got to round it out. You got to get a kill on Acadian
okay.
and Lorlo at least. That's their next focus. Maybe let Lorlo go. Focusing the Scion's probably a bad idea. But just get the kill onto Acadian, shut down the Hecarim.
We're still crafting it out. We're working on it.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
FlyQuest is working on it. Yeah, we'll have our Kickstarter up after the game to see if anyone wants to support our idea of evening out the kills. But
maybe Coach Fantix is in the Twitch chat right now. He can tell us what their mini game is going to be here. Focus.
Coach Fantix, he has to be happy with the fact that the minigame on the map right now is all about that dragon control. And FlyQuest, we've praised them in the past for their dragon setups. Despite the early reset from Dignitas, they were able to get in here first, at least get some ward coverage as Dig now forced to shove up this mid lane, trying to use that to get into the river. As FlyQuest contesting to deny. A little bit of split map focus coming out from both teams, but NXI, he is caught off.
We might have
a fight.
My eyes are fully on Tomo and Triple. If FlyQuest lose both of their damage dealers, the fight's over. They're not at a gold lead where they can just have one single carry from their 2-threat comp. They need both to output damage. Kumo takes a big chunk right there. A lot of damage coming in from Spawn. A lot of damage coming in from Yasui in the pit. NXI and Acadian are duking it out. Tomo's actually playing very aggressive right there, getting some damage in onto Acadian, who's ready to go in. Dreams is over the wall. Is this the engage? I don't know if that's what he's looking for. Yep, there we go. Actually, Flash is in. Tomo, they're trying to jump in onto Spawn. That's Flash out of the 80 carry, and it's just turned right back. They can't kill Spawn. He's still alive. There we go. Kumo actually takes him down. Komo's still up. Komo's still up, putting some damage. It's Dignitas' front line that's trying to run at him, but Yasui is still alive. Still full health bar right now. It might be trades, but it's not going to be for long. Yasui can clean these up, but maybe Kumo's the raid boss that FlyQuest needs. He's trying to retreat right now. Flash is away.
That's Soul.
FlyQuest, wow, they actually can still fight.
It was a good attempt from FlyQuest. They found the angle onto Spawn, but Spawn just lived too long, and JJ was able to save his E to actually save Acadian from a Victor Laser. So the fact that they were able to keep their jungler up, it means that FlyQuest, despite their best efforts, despite getting there early, trying to set up that dragon the best they could, Dignitas are still able to use their gold lead, use the power they have in their pockets right now, Kangas, to guarantee they get this dragon as Dreams. He's getting chunked out, so he has to go on to Spawn, but JJ, the first eat, so key. It buys Spawn so much time, who eventually gets routed off, but at the cost of Dreams. Tomo is now split from the rest of the fight, and Triple's never able to get in the backline to deal significant damage. Once Tomo gets routed off too, watch this eat on Acadian. JJ flashes to save his jungler, as that is key, making sure the smite stays on the map. Dignitas are able to guarantee they get the Ocean Soul. Is now this early gold lead, Kangas. They've snowballed this into an Ocean Soul. This should bridge any scaling advantage that FlyQuest has. So Dignitas should be able to rival, and now they're going to set their sights on the Baron.
Dignitas have been hovering around the 6k gold lead for the last 10 minutes right now. They're not letting it go. They get that Dragon Soul.
Yeah,
they're on the Baron. FlyQuest, they got to go for a Hail Mary right now. Maybe they can steal it or something crazy, but they have to make something happen. Dignitas are not giving them time to think. They're not giving them time to process. Kumo has teleport. He's pushing bot side. Maybe he can look for it. He's looking for the engage, but look at Acadian here on the flank too. The jungler's not even in the pit. He's just looking for the engage.
They're trying to let
Triple.
Fight? Yeah.
Okay. NXI
they were trying to get Triple to step too far up, but Triple, he stays disciplined. He doesn't. Dreams gets the Hex Flash off, and FlyQuest, we talked about the plays to secure a 1k gold advantage on the map, and if they get 5 of those, they can start put the pieces back together. Kumo is bot side this entire time, so he gets the turret. He's going to kill a wave off into the secondary turret as well, and this might force Dignitas to go back onto the Baron once again to try and pull that teleport from FlyQuest.
Yeah, but they're not. They're actually instead just looking to grab these waves instead, so Dignitas do not commit to the Baron. Yeah, that's good for FlyQuest, actually getting something back in their pocket. Is it going to be enough is still the question that's on my mind, because it's some gold onto Kumo, who, to be fair, did perform that last team fight very well, survived way longer than I was expecting. And sometimes you just need that one Aatrox pop-off team fight, right? We've seen it happen before. FlyQuest backs against the wall. They're going to need to make something happen. And, man, look at this kill participation coming in here from Acadian. Still 100% yet to die.
That first pick pony really paying off for Dignitas is the veteran member cashing in, and they're going to port the top lane.
Yeah, they port right in onto Triple. He doesn't have flash, so he's in a lot of trouble, but he's still alive. Dreams absolutely carrying that fight. It's not going to end like this. There's no way, Cubby. They're winning the fight. FlyQuest absolutely stomped Dignitas in the top lane.
And Dignitas We talked about their early game, how they've been able to snowball that in, but the moment they take a step out of position, that port from Yasui, they weren't able to get triple. Gets out thanks to the re-engage from Dreams and FlyQuest. They get the Dream team fight. They find Rise and Senna. Tahm Kench can only save one, ends up saving none because they all go down, and FlyQuest now take the Baron. It's only a 1k gold lead now because of the shutdowns, and that Ocean Soul for Dignitas, which should have pushed them over the edge. It wasn't enough in that fight. They just got blown up by FlyQuest.
I can't believe that this actually worked out.
Oh,
Look at
gravity
Dreams
field.
right here. Gravity field, the chain CC. They can't move.
The gravity field on the Dreams is engaged was so clean from the side of FlyQuest, and they instantly wipe 4. They take the Baron, and Kangas, I was going to say the Hail Mary for FlyQuest. It's now getting to the Elder Soul. I thought that they'd get here at a 6k gold deficit, but with the Baron buff and with the gold lead, Dignitas, the only advantage they have now is this Ocean Soul.
It's still a pretty big advantage, keep in mind. They do have
it's
tanks,
pretty big.
They do have Senna. But yeah, this is not what Dignitas wanted the game to look like at 30 minutes. I'm just dumbstruck right now. And the most important part, I think FlyQuest, Coach Fantix agreed with me. Kill Acadian. They got him. They got the pony cubby. That was step number 1. Step 2, get Elder. Step 3, win the game. I guess that's how it goes, out or something along those lines, because wow, they pulled that out of thin air.
And all of a sudden, Kangas, we have the Elder Dragon fight in a $120 for the side of FlyQuest and Dignitas, and we have to look out. FlyQuest, they've been doing a good job of getting into the river early. They have the Baron creeps, so they can sneak in here. You can see them taking control, and let's watch if Dreams and Kumo can find a flank, because the Dream fight for FlyQuest is where they find Rise and Senna with the same engage. Tahm Kench can only eat 1 from there, and JJ also doesn't have access to Cleanse, so if they chain CC him too, it could buy enough time for FlyQuest to blow up the carries of Dignitas, because they're going to have to. If they don't, the Ocean Soul, the healing from Senna is going to start kicking in, but it's a good start for FlyQuest. Look at all the control they have as we get a beautiful vision toggle from our observers. Thanks so much. The tension of this game, all of a sudden, Kangas, we went from having a game that was very one-sided to one that could go either way in the late game as FlyQuest with that team fight came roaring back.
The thing is, Dignitas do not need to approach right now. They can play it slower. They had Yasui pushing top wave in, resetting that wave. Kumo's now getting slow. This could be the engage that Dignitas needed. If they can catch on the top laner, Kumo has to flash away. Now he has to re-engage. Tomo jumps in too. They can't get spawned. He flashes the wall. Spawns over the wall doing some damage. Tomo jumps in too. He takes him down. The AD carry kills the enemy AD carry. And will trail with his own life. Here we go. Now Lorlo trying to frontline for Dignitas, but FlyQuest can chase him down. Kumo's still alive somehow. Dreams providing CC, Triple providing the damage, but Acadian is too big. But now he doesn't have his backup. He doesn't have his team anymore.
That Smite down.
FlyQuest even the fight.
That Smite down. FlyQuest, they still have access to Smite. Victor and Aatrox can be enough DPS for Baron. Triple can even base and TP back if he wants to, but FlyQuest, they're looking to lay a trap. They want to keep on fighting. They want to guarantee the Elder Soul for themselves. They are not going to start until they take down the rest of Dignitas, who are healing off the Ocean Soul. So this might just be a handshake. And Kangas, we could see the same fight repeat again in 60 seconds.
I think the FlyQuest want to force this. Yeah, they teleport Triple in here. They have
Spawns
Smite.
back on the map.
Dignitas do not. It's going to be Yasui with 2 frontliners. But yeah, you're right. Spawn is back up here. Yeah, FlyQuest, I don't think you can take this anymore. You got to catch these waves.
It's a minute to wait. We have the handshake, Kangas, and we're going to get another banger of a fight with a lot of flashes blown. No flashes for the next
I cannot
point.
believe this is where the game went, Cubby. If you had told me at 15, 20 minutes in that it would be this close, I would have said you're trolling. I guess that's up to Dignitas, because can they actually clutch this one out with their Dragon Soul and this next Elder Dragon fight? FlyQuest have won back-to-back team fights. Momentum's so important, but now they get the engage here. Tomo's taking a lot of damage. He's all alone, but so is
Dreams.
Now FlyQuest gets a re-engage. Dreams absolutely insane in that fight. Triple doing the damage.
They're doing it.
FlyQuest chasing down Dignitas. I can't believe it's happening. How do you come back from that big of a gold deficit? FlyQuest, show us how. FlyQuest ace the fight, and FlyQuest will march this way mid. They're looking to end the game.
down 7k gold, down in Ocean Soul. They had FlyQuest in the first half, not gonna lie, but FlyQuest had different plans for the second half of this game. The late game scaling they have, the playstyle that they've mastered coming to fruition as they continue to move across the losers bracket. Kangas, a 2-0 over Dignitas. They play to their style. They play to the textbook strategy we've seen FlyQuest that have gotten themselves here, and they take the 2-0 over Dignitas, who are now out of the tournament.
FlyQuest Academy not giving up. Never say never until the Nexus falls. The heart in these players to keep going is insane. You are down Ocean Soul. You are down 7k gold. And we joked about it before, Cubby. What all Dreams had to do was do that a couple more times.
The flanks from
they win the
Dreams,
fight.
it was so on point. And Dignitas, they never got control over that bot side jungle every time Dreams was coming in at an angle after a few of those initial cooldowns were burned. So he was finding an angle onto the carries of Dignitas, and the team play from FlyQuest to get on top of Spawn, get on top of Yasui, and every single fight was so good. A well-deserved win from FlyQuest, as this was the first fight where they found the angle on Spawn, and this one goes pretty even. But after this, Kangas, every fight just started going FlyQuest's way due to the setups they had to open the fight up.
It was all the engage, it was all the chain CC, and it was all the willingness to just go in as a team. I mean, it was Dream setting it up, Triple following up, Kumo cleaning it up, and Tomo just staying alive through the fights. This was the big one. Oh, that chain C was so beautiful.
And the Rel combo on top of the gravity field, Triple was able to sneak on out. And then the last fight, look at Dreams. The angle, they were able, actually a root landed from onto the backline, I think on a minion. It was trying to stun things up, but oh my goodness, FlyQuest. The team fighting in the back half, so good from the Academy roster. As we talked about them in the lower bracket, they dropped to EG early, who looks so damn good. But if you can't challenge FlyQuest and beat them before they get to the mid to late game, man, do they have different plans for you. As what a comeback in this game too.
Dumbfounded, man. That was, I was getting ready. I was starting, okay, prep your narratives for game 3. What's the draft going to look like? How do the teams adapt? But no, FlyQuest say, we're still in this one, and we got the combos to pull it off. I mean, kudos. Kudos to these players. I said it before, I'll say it again. That takes heart to stay in the game at that stage. That takes heart when you're staring down names that have been on LCS stage with those bigs of leads. But you get that one play, that little swing of momentum in your favor, and you can ride that out. That's exactly what FlyQuest did, and I love to see those kinds of comebacks. This day turned into a quick 4-0, wow. Cubby. I mean, 2 2-0s in a row? And now we're going to see FlyQuest Academy versus TSM Academy, who stylistically, we can expect a very similar game. This is going to be an exciting series tomorrow, but of course we do still have more lower bracket games to play before that one happens. And we also do have an interview with one of the FlyQuest members, so production, whenever they're ready, you can bring them in here. I didn't catch who it was, but honestly, I want to talk to any of them. This is incredible. Kumo, how are you doing, man? Is your heart beating as fast as mine?
Not really.
Not really?
I'm not even sure how we won that game, but...
So, like, getting into that game, Kumo, because you guys were down 7k gold, down in Ocean Soul. What were the comms like? What were you guys looking for to try and pull your way back into that one? Like, do anything you can to get back on the Rift?
I mean, in the beginning, I think it was pretty rough, but I think Zen was really trying to get us to, like, focus back up together, and yeah, we just tried to focus on what we could do, even though we're, like, really far behind, and eventually they made a lot of mistakes, and we took the game away.
I mean, you can say that they made a lot of mistakes, but I think it was also Dreams having some insane engages throughout that game. So, I mean, I think that's the part that I want to hear. What was communication like? Were these pre-planned things? Like, especially when they rise realm warp topside, you all chain your CC. Was that something where you're like, okay, we're going to play defensive? Or was that just screaming on the mic saying, go, 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 we got to engage?
I mean, yeah, we're just reacting to dumb realm ulting, so we're just, like, yelling to... like counter the play pretty much. But yeah, the entire game we're trying to play defensive, obviously, since we're really far down, and like looking for openings if they give it to us.
Yeah, I'd say that in that second game, you guys were able to find that and drive those home specifically. I know the first game being a lot more controlled. Both games, you guys selected red side. You actually got the counter pick. I love the Cho'Gath in that game one, a pick that we've been kind of seeing crop back up into the meta. And it feels like, off the back of those counter picks, you were kind of a big stabilizing factor for your team. Is this something like that you feel like you kind of thrive when you're able like to give your team those counter picks and like also give utility, because it feels like when you guys hit the mid to late game, that's like you are one of the strongest teams in the tournament once you get to those late game fights. Is this, and you've really catered an identity around that. Is this something that like is really like off the back of you, the coaches? Like how does that come to fruition like as a team?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's just me only. I think as a team, we kind of just strive in general, like mid to late game, and yeah, it's kind of our identity, I guess.
Well, I'd say keep on sticking to it, man. It looks damn good as you guys continue your run in the losers bracket. In the next round,
I got one last question,
okay.
Cubby.
Yeah, let's hear this,
before you hop in there. I mean, I was trying to get in contact with your coach. I'm going to call him out, Fantix. Respond to your Twitter messages when casters reach out to ask you questions about your team ahead of time. But since I wasn't able to pick his brain, I want to pick yours since I got you in here, because sometimes with academy and amateur teams, it's really hard to get to know all the players. There's not as much stage presence. There's not as many interviews. So I mean, I've talked with you before. We know the face of Kumo. We love having you around. Is there anybody else on your team that you think is underrepresented, undervalued as a player that you want to shout out here? Because I mean, clearly something incredible is happening with FlyQuest right now.
I mean, I guess I'd shout out Tomo because he never wants to do interviews. So
get him in here. He played great.
Yeah.
We'll force him.
Well, that's all right. We'll get Tomo in the future. But Kumo, thanks so much for joining us. And also, congrats on the 2-0, and especially that comeback in Game 2. I know that you guys were getting us hype in the casting booth. And congrats to you, as I know that going out in 2 games instead of 3, definitely the way that you want to head out and get that victory. And continue in the losers bracket where you guys will meet TSMA next week.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kumo, for that Verizon post-game interview. Oh, man, what a way to end the day. I thought my voice might get a nice relaxing day of casting, just kind of chill, ride it out. But no, at the end there.
Dude, my heart's still racing. That was a heck of a game.
My hands are kind of shaky still. I'm trying to like hide them from the camera.
One of the biggest comebacks that we've seen in Proving Grounds. So I know that, before we wrap up today's broadcast, we are going to take one last look at the bracket, see how everything panned out. I did tease that FlyQuest Academy will be going up against TSM Academy in the next round. But Kangas, I'm interested on your thoughts of the game tomorrow. The lower bracket, we got 100 Thieves versus Immortals, and then Zeus versus Golden Guardians.
That is going to be some insane matches tomorrow as well. I'm excited to watch those ones as well. Of course, be brought to you by Mazel and Rebel Fox, two incredible casters. Happy to see them here in Proving Grounds casting those series. So make sure you stick around for those. And then, of course, round 3 will be happening later on in the week as CSM FlyQuest. And then the winners of tomorrow's matches will play each other there. And we're getting close to the end of the losers bracket right now, Cobby. This tournament is going by in a flash right now, but we have had some insane series, insane moments, and insane storylines to track. So I'm happy that I got to cast with you tonight. You're one of the most knowledgeable in this scene, so it's always great to pick your brain on the players and the teams. Also very willing to do Twitter bets, which is fantastic. I love that. So again, if you haven't checked out his new Twitter profile picture, we did this.
I'm glad I can make you laugh at my own expense. And Kangas, always a pleasure being paired up with you. It was a blast to bring the games to you today. And congrats to the teams that ended up moving on, TSM Academy and FlyQuest Academy. Hearts out to Barrage and Dignitas, whose tournament run ends here. I know it's crazy that we lost 2 teams today. We're going to lose another 2 tomorrow, but that's just how the losers bracket goes. And as we keep on going throughout this tournament, it just continues to get more and more hype. And love to watch the quality of gameplay that we're getting so far. It feels like everyone's bringing their best stuff to the table.
They have to. This is the end of their spring season, Cubby. So we're going to bid farewell for the rest of the day. But again, same place, same time tomorrow with a new pair of casters and some new fresh faces in the players. That's it for us today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.
Verizon believes everyone deserves